Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there and age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Welcome back to the channel. So you have businesses rehiring people because they are afraid of the criticism. And to me, that is astonishing. Now, I'm grateful for those who are able to keep their jobs. I'm grateful for those who are fighting for their jobs. You see a lot of the government jobs that were recently not hiring. There was plenty of lawsuits filed. There was plenty of people who got reinstated or got put back on that list to get hired. I'm grateful for every single person who is able to get a job and is able to keep their job and kind of elevate in life. On the flip side of that, I believe Zillow laid off about 60% of their workforce, stating that AI could take over many of those jobs, and they were hit with so much backlash that they ended up reinstating some of those jobs that they potentially laid off people for. And there were some people who were laid off prematurely. Maybe those roles still could not be filled by AI, and those people who were laid off prematurely are now the same people who are disgruntled employees and no longer want to work for a company that was so quickly and so eager to lay them off just as a number on a spreadsheet. Because let's be real, for most businesses, if you don't know this already, people are their most costly expense. You understand? And so our president, Donald Trump, whether you agree that that's the president or not, is looking to bring more jobs back to America. And how is through tariffs. So because tariffs and the cost of goods and services are higher, there are going to be more businesses that are going to say, well, since the cost is already higher overseas, it may be advantageous for us to build here. And so I can now pay the minimum wages of these states. I can now pay for the infrastructure here because I understand that the cost of me making those goods and services here is going to outweigh anything that could have been built overseas, and I get to avoid the tariffs. I get to avoid all the other things that were put in place. The U.S. has already made over $4 billion in tariff revenue, and that's $4 billion that the American taxpayer does not have to pay. Now, granted, the American taxpayer is not going to see any tax cuts outside of the extended Donald Trump tax cuts of 2020. We're still going to continue to pay more and more and more because the debt ceiling has still risen. But again, when we're talking about economic growth and success, you do want more jobs in America. You do want the cost of things to go down and your income to go up. But humans are consumers, and we will continue to consume. And so, regardless, there's going to be some semblance of inflation unless the demand for things continue to go down. I was looking at the housing market today, and I'm talking about this in another video, but I see prices dropping all around. Prices dropping all around, and Arizona got hit the hardest. And again, I will talk about that in another video. But back to tariffs and how that is operating through our economy, honestly, I see this in so many different viewpoints. Is it a good thing that the U.S. is getting more revenue in order to pay down debt? Yes, that's a great thing. However, there are different sectors of the economy being focused on, like border patrols and things like that. That's also going to cost us more as an economy. There are more people who are losing jobs and needing an outlet, and so there are now more military recruitment going on, whether it's the Army, Navy, Marines, whatever the case may be, right? And so you just see that the cost is just going to shift. There's going to be a lot of government positions that the cost is going to shift to those military facilities, and the military cost is going to go up. So only 2% of people used to serve in the military. That may go up to 3, 4, 5% in the near future. And so we'll see 5% of people possibly serving in the military. Remember, I said that first. Because again, when the job market is bad, the military seems like a better option just to have a secure, stable future, food on your plate, and you get to get in shape. So there's nothing wrong with getting in shape, right? So with that being said, we have to count our chickens, and you don't count your chickens before they hatch, right? And so when you're looking at this play out, I've never been in an economy where tariff, everything to death, and then watch what happens. Yeah, so this is a first for me, just like it is for many, but I can tell you a few things that can transpire, right? So with the tariff increase, obviously there's going to be a higher cost in goods and services unless companies are willing to eat it. And Walmart has already stated that they're not willing to eat costs. Target has already stated that they're not willing to eat costs. And so what does that do? That has to be transferred to the consumer. Now, if those costs are being transferred to consumers, that means your grocery bills are going up. That means the prices for food, the prices for services are going to increase. And that is going to increase inflation on a smaller side because you're going to be paying more for groceries. You're going to be paying more for all of these things, all of these services. And the likelihood of the cost going down is not likely. Yes, eggs went down. Eggs used to be $6, and now they're down back to almost $2 a carton. But at the end of the day, that's just one food group. And it's so funny that people, like the media, is just talking about eggs all day as if that's the only thing people eat. No, it's not. I can't buy Wagyu steak at Sam's Club anymore, and I'm not trying to be fancy, so don't kill me for that. But I used to be able to buy 2 pieces of Wagyu steak for $40. I remember when it went up to about $50, $55 and nobody was buying it anymore. And then boom, it was just cleared off the shelf. Sam's Club no longer sells Wagyu steak. I thought they was going to drop the price if we stopped buying it, but nope. They eliminated it completely, which means they did not have the wiggle room to allow you to buy it at $40. If they did, they would sell it for $40 again. But instead, they got rid of it completely. And so that tells me everything I need to know is that these companies are really not even trying to price gouge us. They're trying to make some sort of profit in order to pay their staff. But as soon as they start losing money on a certain product, it's gotta go. It's gotta go, okay? And so tariffs is definitely going to increase the price of goods and services, which will increase inflation. However, it will also allow other countries to start to understand that the U.S. is not playing any games. They're going to lower their tariffs, which will in fact lower ours as well. Now, because our president has talked about reciprocal tariffs. Now, the last thing is that it can also lead to more jobs in the U.S. because if the price of everything goes up across the board everywhere else, that allows for the high salaries that we offer here in America to actually not look so much as a deterrent. And now more businesses are going to be willing to operate under that umbrella because maybe the cost of creating chairs and household items are no longer that expensive compared to going to China or Taiwan, because now instead of it being $40 to bring that chair over here, it's $80, and you can make it in the US for $75. So why wouldn't you, right? Once you have the material, once you have the machinery and there, if you could save $5 by paying somebody $16, $18, $20 an hour, why wouldn't you? So that's how I see it. So when we talk about tariffs, when we talk about that type of infrastructure that's being trickled down to our economy, the U.S. has already gotten $4 billion, and there's more coming, right? It's only 2025, we got 2026, and so on and so on. So if you like this video, if it was informative to you, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know I post on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify for podcasters, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.